So have you ever thought about one question that is, and what's the incentive and what's the meaning or the implication of education? So last Monday, my son had his first birthday, and we had a very grand celebration for him. As a Chinese tradition, we placed the 5 objects in front of him for his choice. Sound a little bit superstitious, because and most of Chinese parents may believe that, and one object that a child chooses is going to determine his or her life and his career prospect. For example, if a child chooses a seal, that means he or she is going to be a governor and is going to seize the power. At the same time, if a child just chooses the money, that means he or she is really gifted in business. Guess, what did my son choose? He chose a brush pen, right? So actually, an brush pen indicates that he's going to be literate, and that means, and he's going to be engaged in the business of education. So as we know, that education in China is always of critical importance to not only parents, but also teachers. And at the same time, we also focus on the importance of students in this aspect. So actually, education in China has a history for more than 6,000 years. And actually, 4,000 years ago, and one of the most leading Chinese educators, and that is Confucius, established the first public school in China. The mission of the school was to educate the children and the people to be the leaders in all fields, and especially in the field of politics. And what was the basic intention for all the disciples at that time? And they would like to save the country from starvation, from wars, and from difficulties. However, it seems that the task of education changed absolutely in the recent 100 years. We know that the Qing dynasty was in the absolute trouble and in the absolute problem in the recent 100 years. So that probably around the year 1850 or 1860, hundreds of Chinese students were sent to USA and UK for their first study, especially in the fields of science, engineering, and education. At the time, the missions for all the students were for nothing but for their self-recognition. And what is the pathway for China to revive from a very important country and to the country with the potential to develop further? It seems that they succeeded in revolutionary China in the past 100 years. However, in the recent decades, especially after the year 1980s, the implication of Chinese education seems to change absolutely. That means we are going to break up the linear precise education in China. And so, my question is that what is the meaning and what is the definition of education in China today? Okay, probably most of you have your own answers. Some people may define education as a pathway to fortune and to power. However, at the same time, some people assume that education is an advantage for a person to acquire their business and to be successful in their own life. And so, in this occasion, I will remind you of that the changes of education are just undergoing. So I'd like to share with you 3 stories of my students. And they are from different families, from different economic backgrounds, and also they are of different life regions in their real life. So probably that's 11 years ago, one of my students, his name was Mac. Mac was really talented in music, and he was also from a wealthy and powerful family. His parents gave him the support and to encourage him to apply to one of the most renowned music institutes in the world, that is the Curtis Institute of Academy in America. At last, Mac just succeeded in applying to this renowned university, and now Mac is the leading pianist of one of the most important European orchestra. Last year, we had a very long conversation. I asked Mac, and in your opinion, what is the importance and value of education for your life? After thinking about the question for several minutes, Mac responded in this. And he told me that, Morris, this actual education is really worthy for me, because it's not only a chance, but only a necessary choice for me to prove that I can be extraordinary on the pathway to the best orchestra in the world. At the same time, I think that education is also a chance of self-recognition and self-redefinition for my own life. And I suppose that education is not about the money and about not the power. It is just a way for me to prove myself and also to show my parents that I'm able to realize my own visions, my own life dream with my own talent in this very equal opportunity. So and this is the first story about the Mac. And for the next one, I'm going to share with you another very untypical story about Jason. So Jason is one of the most difficult students I have ever encountered. Basically, Jason is from a divorced family. 7 years ago, he lived with his biological father and his stepmother and stepsister in a very big and very luxurious house. However, Jason just refused to study. Because at the time, Jason assumed that no matter how hard he tried, he just could not be involved in this really new relationship with the stepmother and the stepsister. He assumed that he was the only outlier of this very cold family. It is because of this, he tried to be very careless and indifferent to everything that really happened in this big house. I once asked Jason, "You are not so careless as you look, right?" Jason responded, "Yes, Morris. In my childhood, I used to be a very energetic and aspirational learner. However, everything got changed as my father divorced from my biological mother. I think it is really insignificant for me to pursue anything dream. That I think revenge is the best way for me to treat every person in this careless and cold shelter." And I persuaded Jason that, "Okay, probably you have another alternative for you, and that's nothing but education." So Jason responded, "Hey, Mertz, do you think it is really necessary for me?" So I just advised him that, okay, proper education is a chance for you to revive your life at the same time to escape from your contemporary hardship. Fortunately, at last Jason took my advice. So after about 2 years of effort in English, he passed IELTS and went to New Zealand. 2 years ago, Jason got his degree in engineering from one of the most renowned universities in New Zealand. And then now, he works for his father's company. Last year, Mike and for Jason and his own girlfriend visited me. And Jason told me that, "Hey, Mertz, I have forgiven my father, my stepmother, and sister. Because I realized that education is a very important opportunity for me to realize that education is the best way for a person to learn to forgive anyone that used to hurt me." So I just feel really moved by his words because I think education at the moment works just with the magical power. For the last story, it's just about a girl. The name of the girl is Aguda. I first met Aguda in 2016 when I visited the Guizhou. So as you know, Guizhou is one of the most impoverished cities in China, and the income per capita there is less than $300 annually. Most of the people just in absolute starvation and poverty. Actually, they do not have enough ability to support their children to accomplish their system education. And Aguda is just one of them. So the village that I taught as a volunteer teacher is just in the depth of the very distant village. So actually the village is really beautiful, and it is covered with clustered flowers and verdure. And however, all the students there did not know even one word in English. So I felt a little bit anxious whether I could be able to tell them anything about English. However, their response was really amazing me. They tried every minute and every hour to memorize even some very simplest words like hill, like skylark, like a wobble. Whenever they remembered one word successfully, and they would feel really excited. And they could not wait to tell me, "Hey, Marge, I'm able to remember this word, and I'm able to speak the word exactly." And I said, "So, and show me, you are able to." and they will tell me that bird, hill, mountain, skylark, warble. So actually, their performance just excited me a lot. However, Aguda was one of the most special ones. Basically, Aguda was lame. At the age of 13, her left leg was broken by a rotting leg, and she ended in a rainy leg. Since then, he had to walk for 30 or 50 miles a day from the school to her home. However, he had never given up even for one day. I asked her, "Hey Aguda, why are you so persistent in studying?" Aguda smiled and responded, "Must you know that education is my only chance. You know, I'm from an impoverished family. My parents worked in Guizhou, and they could not support me for my middle school and my university. But I dream of studying music, studying mathematics, and even studying some paintings in my life. I would like to be a painter, a mathematician, and a musician one day. I do not want to live the life that my parents lived in the past. I would like to explore the life for my own." So, what is the meaning of education for Aguda? Education is a chance for her to realize her own visions. At the same time, education is kind of the way of a self-rescue. So that's the implication of education in China has changed absolutely. And we have broken up the linear progress of education. It seems that it is no longer a pathway to fortune and to power. Every person defines education in his own unique way and from a unique perspective. So, please rethink about the question. What is the implication of education to you? Is it a chance for you to be successful, to be famous, or to be wealthy? Or does it have any special meaning to you from another perspective? I suppose that every person must have his own understanding for that. I think education in this day and age in China is an opportunity for every person to redefine and to reconstruct his relationship with the world, to play your part in the world and to promote the common prosperity, and to promote the mutual understanding between China and USA, between the world that we have known and the world that is hidden from our sight. So the only thing that we should do is to believe that education will work as a magician. Thank you so much, and this story that to share with you about the new implications of education. Thank you so much. Thank you, Julia, and thank you, Mark, for the opportunity.